to this week's Movie Math, giving you an in-depth analysis of the box office for the holiday weekend of November 23rd, which fittingly was kind of a turkey. Despite 3 new picks opening wide, none could dethrone Breaking Dawn Part 1 from the #1 spot, even though it fell 70% from its opening weekend. But Breaking Dawn still sparkles as it was also the #1 pick overseas and has a worldwide 2-week total of $488 million. Yowza! Sure, it has a long way to go before it reaches New Moon's 700-ish worldwide gross, but there's clearly plenty of blood left in this franchise. It also points out that audiences are still willing to come out to theaters for the right movie. Hollywood just hasn't been giving them what they want. And Disney can breathe a sigh of relief as a sizable chunk of the audience wanted to see the Muppets again. While it couldn't win the weekend, the Muppets did come out on top of all the other new releases, with a 41.5 haul. And while that's pretty much what it cost to make the movie, it still has a ways to go before it'll earn back the pretty penny that Disney spent on marketing. In fact, some media outlets even talked about Muppet overload, but Disney felt the onslaught was necessary to make sure families came out to the theater rather than wait for DVD. Amazingly, they even put that concern into words as Statler and Waldorf told AMC moviegoers to see the Muppets in theaters as you didn't want to let them into your home. But such blatant marketing appears to have worked and puts the pick in a good position for its slow, very slow rollout overseas. After all, Disney certainly didn't want a disaster on their hands like Happy Feet 2. That flick might have slipped just 37% from its opening weekend, but it's been posting such poor numbers that the animation studio behind it is rumored to be laying off 600 workers in December as it restructures itself. Then, rounding out the top 5 were Arthur Christmas and Hugo. This should have been a boffo weekend for Arthur Christmas as the holiday season kicked off in earnest. But then again, sadly, the pick couldn't even open at #1 in its native Britain. A real shame as it's a great movie. But while Hugo might be sitting at #5, Hollywood is buzzing about how it was able to be so competitive despite playing in half the number of theaters as the other new releases. That kind of buzz, plus some great reviews, put Scorsese in that kind of successful but not too successful sweet spot for some possible award nominations. After all, the Academy loves to rescue important movies. In the limited release market, Oscar season continued to heat up. The Descendants expanded considerably, not only increasing by 500%, but moving up 1 spot to #9. My Week with Marilyn had an impressive bow, boasting a strong per-screen average and a wider than usual release for this kind of movie. Meanwhile, The Artist did it old school, debuting in just 4 theaters, a strategy that paid off as the black and white flick had a very colorful per-screen average. A Dangerous Method also opened in 4 theaters, and while not quite as successful, certainly wasn't a flop either. Now overseas, some interesting things are happening as well. The Adventures of Tintin has crossed the 200 million mark, but the real story is taking place in France. French comedy The Intouchables came in at the #2 spot between Twilight and Tintin, and is the #1 film of the year in France. The second biggest film in France this year? Nothing to Declare, another homegrown film. That's an impressive feat considering that Hollywood movies usually top the box office abroad. Now, while Harvey Weinstein has already snapped up the foreign distribution rights to The Untouchables, he's also picked up the remake rights. So that begs the question, will we ever get to see the original here in theaters, or just some Hollywoodized version? Quite frankly, as foreign film industries continue to step up their game, it becomes more and more offensive that American audiences are either being denied or ignoring their product. After all, foreign audiences watch plenty of Hollywood films, either dubbed or with subtitles. Why can't we do the same here? Are theater owners underestimating American audiences, or do you think there's no interest here for foreign fare? Write your thoughts down below. And that's the Weekend Box Office Roundup. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.